You've been walking through a world stitched together with half-truths and silence, piecing together your past from fragments that never quite fit, sensing there was something more behind the smiles, the apologies that never came, and the moments that ended too abruptly. Deep in your spirit, you knew something was missing, not just words left unsaid, but entire truths hidden in the shadows by people who were supposed to love you honestly. Jesus has been watching you carry the weight of these unanswered questions, these strange feelings that come in waves when you pass a certain street, hear a certain name, or sit alone in a quiet room and feel the silence stretching too long. You were not wrong to wonder. You were not imagining the heaviness behind their glances or the tremble in their voice when the subject changed. The truth was buried because they believed you were too soft to carry it, too innocent to survive it, too powerful to remain free once you knew it. But heaven disagreed. Jesus, the one who saw it all when it happened, every word whispered in secret, every decision made behind your back, every door shut quietly while you stood outside wondering why you weren't enough, has declared that you deserve to know. Not because the truth will be easy, but because what has been hidden from you was not meant to be your prison. He is preparing to release what they kept locked away, and no force, emotional, spiritual, or generational, will be able to stop it. The very walls they built to keep you from the truth are beginning to crack because the time has come for revelation. And when it comes, it will not arrive as chaos. It will come as clarity, and with it will come the peace you've been begging for in the quiet, tearful places no one sees. What they never told you was not just a detail, it was a cornerstone of your identity, and heaven will not allow your destiny to be built on lies. Jesus is unraveling the curtain stitch by stitch, not to punish anyone, but to heal you at the deepest level. You've been blaming yourself for holes in a story that was never told in full, mourning relationships that made you feel guilty for asking too many questions, and shrinking yourself in the presence of those who looked you in the eye and still denied you the dignity of truth. But Jesus says, the days of confusion are numbered. The revelations that are coming are not just information, they are answers your soul has cried for in the night. They are confirmations that you weren't crazy, that your instincts were never broken, that your questions were wholly alarms set off by the Spirit itself. And with every layer that is revealed, something inside you will rise, not in bitterness, but in divine power. You will no longer walk through your life as someone who was left out of the story, because God is giving you the pen now. You will rewrite the chapters they tried to control, not with revenge but with the authority that comes when truth finally meets the heart that was denied it. This is the beginning of something sacred. Not a storm, but a sacred unveiling. A heaven-ordained revelation. A holy whisper that says, "Beloved, you were always meant to know." And now that the veil is thinning, the Spirit is beginning to stir your soul with flashes of what was always hidden in plain sight. Moments that used to confuse you are now starting to make sense. The words they avoided. The memories they skipped over. The tension in rooms where nothing was said but everything was felt. Jesus is showing you that what they never told you wasn't just a mistake, it was intentional. Not because they hated you, but because they feared what your knowing would unlock. They feared what truth would set in motion, and who you'd become once the fog of half-told stories lifted. But heaven never agreed to their silence. While they buried pieces of your history in fear, Jesus preserved them in divine timing. He watched as you searched for love in people who only gave you versions of themselves. He saw you shrink when you sensed there was more but had no proof to speak it aloud. He held your heart each time you were told, "Just let it go," even when something in your spirit screamed, "But I still don't know." You were not overthinking. You were not dramatic. You were spiritually sensitive to deception. And now that heaven has declared this season one of revelation, the details are rising like breath to the surface. Watch how God sends you signs through dreams, through people you haven't heard from in years, through sudden clarity in quiet moments. Some of it will come in divine whispers, others like thunderclaps of realization. And it may break your heart. It may shake what you thought you knew about those closest to you. But that breaking is not punishment, it is sacred preparation. Because what was hidden from you wasn't just information. It was direction. It was clarity. It was divine context for the pain you carried without answers. Jesus is saying now, I did not let you discover it earlier because you weren't ready to carry the truth with power. You would have carried it with guilt. But you're different now. The same storms that tried to bury you have only deepened your discernment. You are no longer the version of yourself that would have begged them to explain. You are the healed one who understands that knowing is no longer for closure, it is for calling. The things you are about to learn may cause you to feel the heat of anger rise in your chest, but Jesus says, "Let me take that from you." Because the truth is not coming to chain you, it's coming to unlock you. What they did, what they hid, what they avoided, what they feared, it was never bigger than the purpose I placed inside you. And now that the truth is coming, you'll see why the enemy worked so hard to keep it from you. You'll see that the silence wasn't just about protecting themselves, it was about delaying your activation. But heaven has said enough. You are being invited into a divine knowing that will transform your perspective and restore the years stolen by confusion. You will no longer have to wonder why the energy shifted, why the conversations felt unfinished, or why you always felt like you were standing just outside the full picture. Jesus is painting the final strokes now, and what he's revealing is not just the past, it's the secret architecture of your becoming. It's the blueprint of who you were always meant to be. So be still, but do not be silent. Watch, but do not shrink. Feel, but do not fall apart. Because what heaven is about to reveal will not destroy you, it will define you. You were always meant to know, even though they tried to keep you in the dark, because your spirit was born to carry divine clarity, not human confusion. And now the time has come where Jesus is no longer permitting your soul to be imprisoned by the silence of others. What they withheld is being released from the hands of heaven, not to shame them, but to free you. This truth that's approaching like a slow wave is not about revenge, it's about restoration. It's about restoring the you that existed before manipulation, before you started second-guessing your own memories just to keep the peace. God is pulling you out of that emotional wilderness, because he's seen how the lies you were told, and the truths you were never told, have distorted how you see yourself. And while others hoped you'd eventually get over it, Jesus never asked you to forget. He asked you to heal, and there's a sacred difference. Forgetting erases what shaped you. Healing transforms what tried to destroy you. And now, as the truth prepares to touch your life, you'll begin to realize how many of your battles weren't born from who you were, but from what they kept from you. Their fear, their guilt, their secrets. They built walls inside your mind without permission. But no more. Heaven is coming with hammers to the foundations of falsehoods. And what breaks may sting at first, but Jesus says, "Child, I will not let you bleed without birthing something better." Some truths will come through conversation, accidental slips that are actually divine appointments. Some through documents you find, stories you overhear, or even strangers who reveal more than they realize. And some will come from deep within your soul, where I, Jesus, have been waiting for you to be still long enough to listen to me instead of them. I will show you things you didn't even know to ask about. I will remind you of moments you dismissed as coincidence but were actually warnings. I will take your hand and walk you back through the years they tried to erase, not to trap you in the past, but to give you the keys to your future. Because until you understand what happened, you cannot fully own who you're becoming. But don't let the weight of what's about to be revealed make you think you're alone. Heaven has assigned angels to comfort you. I've already wrapped peace around your future like a blanket that cannot be torn. And as much as this may shake what you believed about certain people, you will not be destroyed. In fact, you'll rise stronger because you'll finally know that it wasn't your fault. Their silence, their absence, their betrayal, none of it was because you were unworthy. It was because they were unready to confront their own reflection in your light. And that light, the one they tried to dim, is about to shine with divine power because the truth will purify your soul like fire refines gold. And what you feared would break you will instead become the very evidence of God's favor. Jesus says, "I will make your pain speak in parables. I will turn your unanswered questions into divine instruction for others. I will not waste your sorrow." Because what heaven is about to expose will not just heal your timeline, it will heal your testimony. Get ready, child. This revelation will be the moment your voice returns, your tears make sense, and your purpose breaks free from everything that tried to keep it buried beneath polite silence. You are not crazy. You are not dramatic. You are not imagining it. You were spiritually awake in a room where others were emotionally asleep. But now, I am about to show you why. And now, as the veil lifts and the truths begin to reach you like rays piercing through a thick cloud bank, Jesus says, this final part is not about what they did, but about what I'm doing through it. Because when I show you what was hidden, it won't just answer your questions, it will activate your calling. You didn't come this far just to collapse at the gate of truth. I have walked with you through every lie that wrapped itself in comfort. I watched as you smiled through conversations that bruised your spirit. I stayed by your side when you kept asking me why things felt wrong even when everyone around you swore they were right. I whispered to your spirit when you cried alone after they told you it wasn't that serious. You weren't overreacting, you were sensing a truth your heart wasn't yet ready to hold. But now it is. Now, heaven is no longer delaying what was once too heavy for your shoulders. You have grown stronger in the silence. You have developed discernment in the loneliness. And now, the truth will not crush you, it will crown you. This moment is not revenge. It is resurrection. Because what they never told you, what they hoped would remain buried beneath your self-doubt and second-guessing, is exactly what I will use to elevate you into rooms they said you'd never enter. And here's the part no one sees coming. I'm not just revealing truth about them, I'm revealing truth about you. The you they tried to edit to fit their comfort. The you they tried to tame with guilt. The you they feared would outgrow the chains they left around your worth. I'm showing you that you were never the problem, you were the mirror. And your light exposed their shadows. That's why they silenced you. That's why they avoided questions. That's why they left without explaining. It was never just about the truth itself, it was about the power it held to break their illusion and birth your freedom. So do not mourn the version of you who stayed quiet to protect their secrets. That version kept you alive. But I am now baptizing you into your voice. You no longer have to carry what they were too ashamed to confess. You no longer have to guess what went wrong or why they changed or what you did to deserve the distance. Because Jesus says, I am bringing you clarity that will burn away every lie like sunlight on fog. There will be names that suddenly make sense, timelines that finally click into place, behavior that once confused you now revealing itself as patterns, not punishment. You were not being punished. You were being protected. Even when it looked like abandonment, it was alignment. Even when it looked like betrayal, it was divine separation. And now that the truth is here, now that the door has opened to a deeper knowing, I ask you this, child, will you receive it without needing them to validate it? Will you accept it even if they never apologize? Because this healing is for you. Not for them. They may never confess what they did. They may never admit what they knew. But I will give you peace that does not depend on their permission. I will send confirmation through dreams, through encounters, through scripture, through a quiet moment where suddenly you just know. And in that knowing, your soul will rise. Your prayers will change. Your self-worth will no longer be tethered to their opinions. You will no longer wait for the closure they were never brave enough to give. Because I, Jesus, am your closure. I am your clarity. I am your covering. You are not broken. You are blessed. You are not rejected. You are redirected. And the truth, no matter how painful, will never arrive to hurt you, but to hold you. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to fight to be believed. You only need to walk forward in the light that is now yours. Because the truth is not just something I'm giving you, it's something I've made you. You, child, are the truth they tried to hide. And now, heaven is about to make you undeniable.